Incredible. The UFC once again outdoes itself in putting together fights on short notice. And speaking of pulling up on short notice, I might ask the king himself. Alex, what would Sergei Pavlovich and Tom Aspinall be thinking during this build-up?
Obviously, they've got a job to do. They've got no time to think of anything else other than what they need to do. At least they know that, their opponent is in the same situation. So their game plans might be a little bit different. If it was full camps, they might be looking, oh, wait, he might just go in for the kill knowing that, we might not go 5 rounds. So the game plans could change. So you might need to change strategy a little bit. But, for me, when I was in positions like this, I don't have time to think of anything else about what I can focus on and do. So I'm sure that's how they're doing it. But, how about the UFC being able to do this on, back-to-back events now? It's incredible. You won't see that in any other sport. I don't know how it gets done. I guess you got lucky enough to have people not myself, same as Dan, guys like us that will do things like that, There's not many athletes that will probably put themselves in these positions.
That's what Aspinall was saying. He said he answered the call. Dana White said, you want to fight? You want to fight for the title? And he said, yep, didn't even ask who it was. So that's you can see the gameness of Tom Aspinall, only 2 weeks or 10 days or something crazy, which he's jumping in on. But he was obviously ready to go.
Well, these guys are both first-round finishers. Dan, what are your thoughts on this contest?
Yeah, for me, the easiest way to put it is speed versus power. Tom is quick. He's a very fast heavyweight. He's very well-rounded. He's been training his entire life. But his coach and his father have had him in there training with, they say he's got the speed of a welterweight. He's always trained with lighter guys. He's able to control his power. And that's why he gets so many knockouts. He uses his technique, he uses his speed. Pavlovich, on the other hand, hands low, not as much as Yuri, but he has his hands down and he's thinking offense. He'll eat a punch just to give a punch. So I'd say Tom is a bit more defensively minded, a bit craftier and a bit faster, but Sergei carries some hammers in his hands.
Well, you don't really see, you touched on that, a heavyweight training his whole life for MMA. You don't really see that as much, especially these bigger dudes. They might be doing other sports, whether it's NFL or, rugby league or whatever it is. And they usually, later on in their life, they'll be like, I want to do this fighting thing. Where he's training, and you've seen it in his performance. He's so well-rounded. His timing and everything that Dan touched on is incredible. You don't really see heavyweights move like that. But someone like him that's been in the game for so long and so agile is one dangerous dude. Again, power versus speed. Dan hit the nail on the head with that one. Again, I rate Tom Aspinall a lot. Yep. But, you can never, ever underestimate power as well. So there's going to be a crazy fight, and I can't wait to watch.
But this power from Sergei, he is something that we haven't really seen too much of. 6 straight knockout victories in the heavyweight division of the UFC.
Yeah, well, that's why you have to respect that. I don't care how good I think Tom Aspinall is. You can never sit there and be like, I literally see him I can see him beating everyone. Yeah. But, there's guys like this that who knows what's going to happen. You know what I mean? If I had to lean towards someone, my prediction would probably be leaning towards Tom Aspinall because of his how well-rounded he is. And, again, what we touched on, he's been training his whole life. He looks so good. But the power, you can never always say it's going to be easy.
That's why the heavyweight division is. That's why we all hold it so close to our hearts. That's why the heavyweight division is so respected, because the size of these men, just the sheer weight and force that they're carrying around. If first guy to land is going to get the knockout. Sergei is powerful. Tom clips him too. It's first guy to land goes home.
Do either of these guys beat John Jones?
I believe so.
Really?
I believe so. I believe either of them have the ability to beat John Jones for sure.
Alex?
I think John Jones' toughest test would be Tom Aspinall. I believe that, yeah. John Jones is that good. Again, you've got the power, so you can never underestimate that. But I feel like Jones is maybe clever enough to deal with that. But again, it's heavyweight, as Dan said. You know what I mean? And all you need is one. And again, that's why we love watching it.
Well, Tom Aspinall has been gracious enough to join the program. So here's our second Fighter FaceTime, brought to you by Nets. Tom, thanks so much for your time on Fox Sports Australia. Now, both you and Sergei Pavlovich were both earmarked as future champions of the UFC. We all thought this fight would happen eventually, just come a lot sooner than we expected. Is that how you're approaching this fight?
Yeah, it is actually. I think we're both very highly rated guys. I think we're both extremely dangerous. You know, I've got the quickest fight time average in the UFC. He has the second quickest fight time average in the UFC. So, yeah, this one's going to be a banger, man. I'm very excited for it.
Hey, Tom, how you going? So, look, mate, I've definitely got you down as the speed advantage. And, like, Sergei obviously carries, like, a lot of power, but I feel like he's not the most defensively sound fighter. Do you see any holes in his defense? Do you see any kind of patterns where you can clip him and get an advantage there?
You said it, Dan. You said it, not me. No, the guy is dangerous, man. The guy is absolutely dangerous. But he wings them big hooks in, and like you say, I got the speed advantage. And I think that most of his opponents, they just stand flat-footed and just start swinging with him, do the old school heavyweight thing, and I don't plan on doing that. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to have a shootout with anybody. I'm trying to use my skill and my brains to win this fight.
Oh, that's good to hear, mate. That's good to hear. The defense, the speed, I think the composure, that's where your advantages lies. And that's why that's why I'm picking you, mate. That's why I'm picking you.
Tom, what's happening, mate? Alex Volkanovski here. I don't know if this is a question or is me just sort of praising you. I think we've obviously taken this fight on short notice, man. Like, I love seeing that sort of stuff. It's incredible, so credit to you. But, I mean, we're chatting about it, and I think you're probably one of the most well-rounded fighters in the UFC. And as a heavyweight, that's saying something, you know what I mean? It's pretty crazy. But the way you blend it together and all that type of stuff, what do you credit that to?
Oh, thank you, brother. That means a lot coming from you. You are, my favourite fighter in the UFC right now, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
You know what? I've been doing martial arts since I was young. I've been doing martial arts since I was like 8 years old. And I try and detach myself emotionally from anything else and just think of it just as a sport. You know, I think a lot of these big guys, especially, they go in there with a lot of ego, and as soon as they start getting hit, they're just trying to start having a scrap and stuff. And that's not what I'm there to do. Do you know what I mean? I'm there to... the last thing that I want to do in a fight, obviously, I've got that fighter spirit, but I want to use that last. I don't lead with that. I want that to be the last thing that I use. First of all, I want to use my skill and use my training, and I don't try and attach myself to emotionally to the fight. I like to try and use my skill first.
Tom, Sergei Pavlovich has 6 first-round KOs in the UFC. You yourself have 5. I don't imagine this fight is going to go longer than a round. How do you see it?
Mate, if I can go out there, mate, and knock him out with the first punch, I'm going to do it. But if I've got to have a 25-minute battle with him, I'm prepared to do that too. But ideally, of course, I will finish him as quick as possible. But I'm not looking for it. Do you know what I mean? When I look for it, the finish never happens. So yeah. I'll be going out there expecting this to be a 5-round battle. And if I can take anything less, of course, I'll take it at any time.
And that's again what I think. Like when I talk about well-rounded fighters, it's guys that obviously can wrestle, can strike, can grapple, but putting it all together, right? Like, and the timing of it, it's like they're striking, they slip a punch and then they throw the two, but it's like you could blend everything, the wrestling and all that, like it's just boxing or something like that. And that's something that I think is incredible, and you don't see probably as much in the heavyweight division. So again, credit to you, and a big fan of your work. Can't wait for this weekend.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much.
Tom, I did want to ask just about the current champion, Jon Jones. How do you see yourself matching up against arguably the greatest of all time?
I mean, obviously, I've got a lot of respect for Jon Jones. The guy, in my opinion, is the top 2 greatest of all time. Either him or GSP, that's my opinion. But I think that he's definitely got a lot of miles on the clock. He's definitely getting a lot older now. I would love that fight before he retires. You know what I mean? I know he's like 38, 39, whatever he is, which is not old. You know, I'm sure he could go a lot longer, but he's done a lot in the sport. And if I could get that fight before he retires and beat that guy, that would be an absolute dream of mine.